Today, in this video, I would like to explain why I became deeply interested in studying how certain foods may influence the condition of the blood. Last autumn, several people close to me began experiencing persistent and intense headaches, including my mother. These headaches were exhausting, long-lasting, and occurred daily, significantly affecting quality of life. Painkillers were used frequently, as no clear alternative was offered. Medical examinations did not reveal any serious pathology, only common age-related changes that are often considered unavoidable. The primary recommendation was the use of blood-thinning medications based on acetylsalicylic acid, commonly known as aspirin. At that point, we decided to explore a broader question. What might be contributing to these headaches? And are there factors that could influence this condition beyond conventional explanations? Using a home microscope, I began observing blood samples from family members who experienced headaches. During these observations, a consistent pattern emerged. When headaches were present, the blood often appeared thick, with red blood cells forming aggregates and long coin-like structures. In such cases, blood flow appeared reduced. An interesting observation followed. Aspirin-based medication did help relieve my mother's headaches, but only temporarily. Under the microscope, her blood appeared more fluid during this period. Although red blood cells remained aggregated and the coin-like formations persisted, overall blood flow seemed to improve. Even this partial change was enough to provide several days without headaches. These observations led us to consider the possibility that blood flow characteristics, particularly blood fluidity, may influence a person's well-being, including the occurrence of headaches. As a result, we devoted significant time and effort to exploring everyday substances that might support healthier blood flow. During these observations, we noticed that after my mother drank a cup of instant chicory, the blood appeared more fluid under the microscope. Red blood cells showed less aggregation, and overall blood flow characteristics appeared improved. At the same time, headaches did not occur. After several months of daily headaches, we observed a notable change. Over the course of an entire month, my mother did not experience a single headache. This improvement coincided with a sustained improvement in blood flow characteristics. In this context, maintaining improved blood flow alone appeared sufficient to prevent recurring headaches, and the need for pain-relieving medication gradually disappeared. Through numerous observations involving people from my close environment, we began to notice a recurring pattern. When a person's blood appeared thick, with red blood cells aggregated and reduced fluidity, this was often accompanied by feelings of fatigue, headaches, low energy, and general physical weakness. In contrast, when blood appeared to be in a healthier state, with red blood cells less aggregated and blood flow more fluid, people consistently reported feeling better. Their thinking felt clearer, energy levels were higher, headaches did not occur, and there were no noticeable issues related to elevated blood pressure. Based on these repeated observations, I arrived at a working hypothesis that the condition of the blood may be closely connected to a person's overall sense of well-being. Today, many people appear to have thickened blood. There are numerous factors in modern life that may contribute to this, while far fewer factors seem to support healthy blood fluidity. In younger or middle-aged individuals, even noticeably thick blood may not immediately lead to discomfort. However, in older individuals, reduced blood fluidity is more often associated with poor well-being. This may manifest as mental fog, reduced clarity of thought, and a general decline in vitality. Why might thick, aggregated blood affect the body in this way? One possible explanation lies in oxygen transport. When red blood cells stick together, their ability to efficiently carry oxygen may be reduced. As a result, tissues may receive less oxygen, leading to a state often described as mild hypoxia, along with its associated effects. In such conditions, it is unlikely that a person would feel energetic, physically active, or mentally sharp. By contrast, when blood flow characteristics appear healthier, people often report improved mood, greater motivation, higher physical activity levels, and significantly clearer mental functioning. It is important to emphasize that the influence of blood condition on overall health and well-being has not yet been conclusively proven by scientific research. I do not claim to present absolute truth. These videos are intended only for those who may find this perspective useful. It is possible that, at present, science has not yet fully established this connection. However, I hope that future research will explore and clarify these relationships more thoroughly. Fortunately, today it is possible for anyone to use a home microscope and directly observe blood samples. When we visually compare blood before and after the consumption of chicory, the differences become clearly observable. At that point, formal scientific conclusions become less central to our personal understanding. We are able to see these changes directly under the microscope, and for us, this visual evidence becomes sufficient. Previously, my mother experienced severe headaches every evening, so intense that they were difficult to tolerate, and she relied on painkillers daily. As a result, we began actively searching for ways that might help support healthier blood flow, and this is how we came across chicory. Over time, we conducted numerous observations, so many that they are difficult to count. Because it is not only the headache itself that raises concern, but also its potential consequences. Many people are already at increased risk of stroke by the age of 40. I have seen how many parents of my peers lost their ability to live independently after strokes or heart attacks. There are countless such stories, and many of them seem to follow a similar pattern. Persistent headaches for weeks or months, followed by a serious vascular event. For this reason, headaches of any origin should not be ignored. Today, my mother regularly drinks chicory. She prepares it by adding 1 heaping teaspoon of chicory to a cup of boiling water and, for taste, about 1/4 teaspoon of instant coffee. Stevia may be used instead of sugar. She drinks this beverage in the morning, at midday, and in the evening, 3 times a day. Sometimes sweetened, sometimes not. According to her own experience, her quality of life has changed significantly. She feels more motivated to act, to clean, to cook, and to engage in daily activities. Overall, there has been a noticeable and positive shift in her mood and energy levels. At the same time, practical experience suggests that neither proper nutrition alone, nor raw food diets, nor the absence of harmful habits, nor physical activity by itself can guarantee optimal blood condition. Modern life exposes us to a wide range of factors that may influence blood properties. These include electromagnetic exposure, suboptimal water quality, high-fat diets, processed foods, and fast food. Many modern products may contribute to increased blood viscosity, while comparatively few foods and natural substances appear to support healthy blood flow. Medicine can offer pharmaceutical recommendations. However, lifestyle choices remain largely the responsibility of the individual. We can influence what we eat, how much water we drink, our sleep and wake cycles, our level of physical activity, and the foods and beverages we choose to include in our daily routine. These factors lie within our own sphere of influence, And I believe that any responsible physician supports individuals who take steps toward a healthier lifestyle while remaining attentive to medical guidance. Chicory is a plant known for its pronounced choleretic and antimicrobial properties. It has been widely used in Tibetan medicine for centuries. In the past, chicory flowers were boiled, and the decoction was used to cleanse external wounds. The root of chicory was dried, roasted, and turned into a drink similar in taste and aroma to coffee. Chicory is a valuable source of calcium, magnesium, potassium, manganese, as well as vitamins A, C, and B6. However, its most important component is inulin. Inulin is a polysaccharide that belongs to sugars, but it is not absorbed or digested by the human body. Because of this, inulin does not raise blood glucose levels and does not stimulate insulin production. At the same time, inulin serves as an excellent nutrient for beneficial gut bacteria. It promotes their growth, suppresses harmful microflora, and improves overall gut health. Regular consumption of chicory helps reduce gas formation, improves bowel movements, and supports healthy intestinal peristalsis. In addition, chicory has a strong choleretic effect. It supports the gallbladder and promotes the active flow of bile. When chicory is regularly included in the diet, it becomes a product that continuously stimulates bile secretion. This is extremely important for proper digestion and a healthy metabolism. Bile acts as a natural antiseptic and a natural antibiotic. That is why its regular involvement in digestion has a positive effect on overall health, accelerates metabolic processes, and improves mucus movement in the body. It is important to note that the modern diet contains very few foods that truly support bile flow. If chicory becomes one of those foods, it can have a noticeable positive impact on the digestive system. From all this, we can draw a simple conclusion. Chicory is a beneficial plant and a valuable beverage that can and should be included in your diet to gain significant health benefits. Chicory has another extremely valuable property. As a result of numerous experiments, a simple and affordable remedy was finally discovered that significantly improves the condition of the blood. And it does not matter when it is consumed, on an empty stomach or after a meal, in the morning or during the day. In every case, thick, clumped blood becomes more fluid and free-flowing, and red blood cells begin to separate from each other. The experiments were conducted on people with blood types 1, 2, and 3, as well as with different Rh factors. In all participants, this remedy had the same beneficial effect. In any large grocery store, you can find instant chicory drink. It is sold in powder or granulated form. For the experiment, 3 different brands of granulated chicory were selected. First, a blood sample was taken before consuming the drink. The red blood cells were clumped together. Although the blood was moving, it could not be considered to be in an optimal state. The aggregation of red blood cells was too pronounced. Then I took 2 teaspoons of instant granulated chicory and poured boiling water over it. To soften the bitter taste, I added 1 cube of cane sugar. And for coffee lovers, 1/4 teaspoon of instant coffee can be added for flavor and aroma. The drink was thoroughly mixed and consumed with pleasure. Exactly 1 hour later, another blood sample was taken for microscopic analysis. And the result was astonishing. The blood had changed dramatically. I could hardly believe my eyes. It was an almost perfect picture. The amount of blood plasma was nearly equal to the number of blood cells. The red blood cells were no longer sticking together. When you compare the blood before and after chicory consumption on the same screen, the difference becomes obvious. It is truly enormous. Previously, I had seen such high-quality blood only after consuming baking soda. But many people are afraid to drink baking soda. Chicory, on the other hand, is a gentle, accessible, and safe alternative. After consuming chicory, there should be no negative effects, only benefits. You might ask why the image quality on the left and on the right, before and after, looks different. Why do the blood cells on the left appear red, while on the right they look almost transparent? Let me explain. This is pure physics. On the left side, where the red blood cells are clumped together, they are positioned edge-on. Because of this, their apparent thickness is greater, and our eyes perceive them as red. On the right side, the red blood cells are lying flat. Light passes through them much more easily, and our eyes perceive them as almost light and transparent. This is a simple and clear physical explanation. Chicory drink has many beneficial properties. It contains a high amount of inulin, which supports the gut microbiota. It helps improve digestion, intestinal motility, and bile secretion. It is also capable of improving cardiovascular function, lowering levels of bad cholesterol, enhancing blood vessel elasticity, strengthening the immune system, and helping improve skin condition. But the fact that chicory improves blood quality alone is already a huge advantage, and right now, we can all clearly see this blood together on the screen. All the other benefits of this product fade into the background. They are no longer that important. It is more than enough that the blood becomes almost ideal after consuming chicory. In the second experiment, another person participated with a different blood type. In the morning, since this person is a smoker, he couldn't resist and smoked on an empty stomach before coming to the experiment. In smokers, red blood cells are usually heavily clumped together. Even if some movement of red blood cells is present due to blood-thinning medications, you typically see coin-like stacks everywhere, with almost no individual red blood cells. In this case, we added 2 teaspoons of refined sugar because the participant simply refused to drink the chicory beverage without his usual sugar. However, as practice has shown, adding sugar, milk, or other additives to a chicory drink does not negatively affect its action in any way. All the components were mixed, the drink cooled slightly, the participant drank it, and 1 hour later, we examined his blood again. And look at the picture of the blood under the microscope this time. The red blood cells are no longer clumped together. They are separated and exist individually. Yes, there are a few small clusters, 2 or 3 cells together, but these cannot be called coin stacks. They are simply close to each other, while still lying flat. No vertically positioned red blood cells are observed. There is a sufficient amount of blood plasma, no signs of dehydration, and an adequate number of red blood cells overall. The blood looks excellent, especially considering how it looked before, and taking into account that the person had smoked and eaten something prior to the experiment. For clarity, I am once again showing you the blood image before chicory and the blood image after chicory. This second experiment allows me to conclude that consuming a chicory drink is beneficial at any time of the day. Even if a person has eaten, smoked, or has been exposed to other negative factors, chicory still improves the condition of the blood. And this is excellent news, because some other products that were able to thin the blood on an empty stomach did not work the same way when the stomach was full. Now, in the third experiment, a third person took part. Before consuming chicory, his blood looked like this. Once again, the red blood cells were completely clumped together. Coin-like stacks were sticking to each other. In some areas, it was even difficult to distinguish individual stacks because it looked like a dense mass of red blood cells. Although the blood flow itself was not bad, overall the blood clearly did not look optimal. Once again, 2 teaspoons of instant chicory and 2 cubes of brown cane sugar were added to a mug of boiling water. Everything was mixed thoroughly and allowed to cool slightly. The participant, who agreed to take part in the experiment, drank this mixture, and the condition of his blood after consuming the drink changed dramatically. Look at this. The red blood cells are all separated, one by one. There is plenty of blood plasma. Dehydration has been eliminated. This is truly astonishing. And now, on the screen, you can see the blood before chicory and after chicory. The difference is enormous. Such a transformation of blood can be observed very rarely. Next, in the 4th experiment, another person took part. He said that beforehand he had overeaten, both animal and plant-based foods. He consumed fatty foods and sweets. It was already after lunch, and he had also drunk coffee. And coffee, as we know, significantly thickens the blood. Here is what his blood looked like before consuming chicory. Take a look. There are even areas where the blood appears almost impassable. Dense, porridge-like conglomerates of red blood cells. Of course, this blood is far from ideal. Once again, we took 2 teaspoons of instant chicory and poured boiling water over it. Then we diluted the drink slightly with boiled water at room temperature. The volunteer drank the chicory drink. And once again, we waited exactly 1 hour. After 1 hour, his blood appeared before us like this. Previously, it was completely clumped together, and signs of dehydration were present. Now, the blood picture is not perfect. The red blood cells have not fully separated everywhere. In some areas, there are small clusters of red blood cells. However, these are only very short, weak, coin-like formations. Nevertheless, the difference between the blood before and after chicory is striking. In this experiment, the blood did not reach an optimal state after chicory because the person had overeaten before the test. According to him, after the meal, he could barely breathe. It is quite possible that if we had taken a blood sample 2 hours later, the blood picture would have been even better. Nevertheless, these are still very significant changes. When we compare the blood before chicory and after chicory, it is impossible not to notice that the blood condition has clearly improved. Even though it is not perfect, there are no longer long coin-like stacks of red blood cells. There are no conglomerates of red blood cells. No porridge-like clusters of blood cells are observed. And in the next, 5th experiment, I will show you the blood of another person before and after chicory. This person also ate before consuming chicory. He ate whatever he wanted, arrived in the evening, had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with no restrictions at all. A completely typical, standard diet. And look what happened. After drinking just 1 cup of liquid chicory, his blood became significantly better than it was before chicory. On the left, the red blood cells are all clumped together in coin-like stacks. On the right, there are no coin stacks at all. The blood looks completely different. And by the way, the person also felt noticeably better afterward. If one of my parents complains that by the evening they develop a headache or a feeling of heaviness in the head, then after a cup of chicory, their condition improves within about 30 minutes. And now, the 6th experiment. The participant also drank 1 cup of chicory, made with 2 teaspoons per mug of boiling water. The difference between the blood before chicory and 1 hour after chicory is striking. Look at the blood before chicory. It was poorly flowing. The red blood cells were clumped together into coin-like stacks. By the way, this person eats more or less correctly, and yet we still observe coin stacks on the left. But on the right, after chicory, the blood picture is completely different. Plain water alone never improves the condition of blood as effectively as a chicory drink does. In fact, I have not yet seen a single drink that improves blood quality so powerfully. The more products we discover that improve blood condition, the better. This helps us understand which foods should be included in our daily diet in order to consistently maintain healthy blood. Chicory is a simple and affordable product that is capable of significantly improving blood quality.